it's me again, Russ Shaw, with another dash cam session. And energy. The dragon of idolatry. And this concept of spiritual energy, the theological over just the psychological. A lot of folks will say that, it's just cognitions, it's just, neurology, it's neuroscience, that's why we feel and think and do what we do. It's nothing spiritual. And then when it comes to things like crime, for example, in a culture, in a society. I'm coming at you right now from Tacoma, Washington. I just drove through what is the hilltop area of Tacoma, Washington. And this area, from what I've heard, a friend of mine was telling me that there's recent crime statistics, used to hear about, South Central LA and stuff like that here on the West Coast. They were saying that the two highest crime rates on the West Coast are Oakland, California, number 1, and Tacoma, Washington, number 2. So I thought that was really interesting, and it had me thinking about what people do to try and resolve some of this stuff, and there's people that talk about, the social science of it, and poverty levels, and there people just don't have hope, and that's what causes crime in a certain area. And I agree with some of that, right? That makes sense at a certain level, but there's also spiritual type of energies. And when I hear people talking about gun control or crime control, it had me thinking about addiction and relapse, right? Like a lot of folks, myself included, when I was totally jacked up and addicted, I just would do whatever it takes not to relapse, right? Like I don't want to relapse. And then this energy would rise up in me, I don't want to relapse, and you get to the kind of white knuckling energy, and ultimately when that energy overtakes an individual, right, an addict, someone struggling with through like sexual addiction, when we're enveloped by that energy, it's almost a given that we're going to relapse, because the energy is so intense on not failing again. And maybe we get through that day or get through that few hours, but until we come to some kind of a peace about where we're at and where we're going, people just tend to relapse over and over again. And it's really, I want you to realize the energy of again, idolatry, putting something in the place of God that's not God. And the biggest thing I want you to understand is that you are loved, all right? That is the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ, that God comes into his own story as a man to, because we need a Savior. I mean, that's part of this whole messed up system known as life on planet Earth, is people are looking for some kind of a Savior, some kind of an outlet, some kind of a release of energy, and they're going to the wrong places to release that energy. So today, realizing the biggest thing you can realize, the biggest thing that you can understand today is that you are loved. That there is a God who created all this. That yes, jacked up, bad, evil stuff happens here. That there's a war going on in this physical plane, this physical place known as planet Earth, and it's a war for love, right? Will the love energy that we get from God, will we accept that, and will we let that burn in our hearts to get us through another day? Not just another day not being an addict, but another day closer to life and love and freedom. Love is a spiritual energy. It's an energy that releases a different kind of affection. And I want you to realize that today. Letting your affections be stirred for something deeper in your heart than just the behaviors that come flying out of us at some point. Letting your being, right? Letting yourself be rather than do, and realize that you're loved more than you know. You are loved more than I can describe. The God's love for us, if we could see it, would blow our mind. And that's true. You are loved by a holy, beautiful, gracious God who created you and created everything that you enjoy. Something to think about. What stirs your affections, and where and how deeply rooted are your affections? Spiritual energy and idolatry. It's wrapping your heart around it rather than just your head. Later.